After reading Best Practices, Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 about the mathematics and the writing lesson, I see great similarities in these types of lessons. One of the similarities I see is the framework for the learning. When I mean framework for the learning, I mean that it's going to be something that is going to be a productive lesson that has thought behind the actual lesson and that is engaged towards the students for their maximum knowledge. One of the things that the educators in both of these discuss in the book is that both of them like to make connections to prior knowledge. In any type of subject, this is something that's key to make sure you are drawing prior knowledge to make sure the student has a better understanding of something that you're either building on or you're revisiting. When I talk about this is very, very important also for leading the student to think on their own and to also reach for a higher understanding of different things. Another similarity that I notice is that the educators both in these different types of lessons want the student to have that scaffolding or have that layered effect. So it's building the student up so that way the students are able to become self-thinkers. When I say this, I mean that the students are able to think on their own, draw their own conclusions, and reach for the stars. So, one of the things I like to talk about that's addressed in this is also the problem-solving skills and the different types of concepts that everybody would like for your students to get out of. This is just solely discussed in mathematics and in writing in the text, but you can also incorporate this into other things such as science, social studies, any type of lesson. I honestly believe that no matter what subject you teach, the framework for all of this is going to be the same. You still have to try to draw from that prior knowledge, and you all need to make sure, our educators need to make sure, that we're actually getting these different types of learning going on. We need to make sure we're staying away from the strict lecture and repeat and turn towards our more engaged self-thinking students. This is something that I'd really like to push for my students, especially being online. I think this is something that I can have my students actually do on a regular basis. So I get very little time with my students actually face to face and or via Skype, and so this makes it very hard not to lecture when we're trying to cover information. So what we actually have to do is we try to engage our students to have cover different concepts where they can actually be engaged and being part of the lesson. So this is something that I find is very, very important. Another thing that they talk about during this is they try to have the students become communicative. So allowing the students to communicate with each other and allowing them to ask those vital questions to make sure the students are going above and beyond.